Some stories seem long gone until a glance, a word, or a memory brings them back to life. Ashanti and Nelly, two names, two voices, two paths that crossed behind the scenes of fame to form a bond that neither time nor distance truly erased. It all began in 2003 during a Grammy Awards press conference. Ashanti was at the peak of her career. Nelly was dropping hits left and right. Nothing obvious happened that day, but between them, something sparked. A discreet exchange, a silent chemistry. No declarations, no stolen photos, nothing official. For years, their relationship remained in the shadows, neither confirmed nor denied. Just subtle appearances, ongoing rumors, fleeting glances caught by the media. A love that, while not exactly hidden, was never fully claimed. And that alone raised questions. Why such secrecy if the love was real? Was it shyness, fear, or maybe, deep down, did they already know their story wouldn't survive the spotlight? Years later, that fear seemed justified. In 2013, without drama or explanation, their bond broke. No public statement, no closure, just a breakup, wrapped in silence. But behind that silence, whispers began to spread. Lack of communication, conflicting visions, deep disagreements, and above all, allegations of infidelity. They were no longer aligned, and when two paths diverge, separation becomes inevitable. Yet, it wasn't a clean goodbye. This was the kind of breakup that leaves the door slightly ajar. An invisible string still tied them, what psychologists call residual attachment, because when two people share deep intimacy, dreams, and emotions, that connection doesn't vanish overnight. Over time, memories start to play tricks. They erase the fights, the silence, the pain, and they highlight the laughter, the affection, the rare kind of connection they once had. This effect has a name: rosy retrospection, the tendency to paint the past in softer, more flattering tones, until it convinces you that going back might actually be the best idea. But what memory beautifies, reality often shatters. Because if wounds remain untreated, if truths go unspoken, if no accountability is taken, then no matter how sincere a reunion may be, it's just a new beginning built on old cracks. And in Nelly's case, some shadows never left the stage. A few years after the breakup, while Ashanti kept a low profile, Nelly's path started getting bumpier. October 2017, while on tour with Florida Georgia Line, a 22-year-old woman named Monique Green accused Nelly of assault inside his tour bus. She claimed the act was non-consensual. Worse, she alleged that Nelly later pushed her off the bus and threw her a $100 bill. The scene was chilling. And even more disturbing, at the time, Nelly was in a public relationship with Chantel Jackson. When addressing the accusations, Nelly admitted to sleeping with Monique, unprotected. He added that she had become jealous, believing he was also involved with one of his dancers on the same bus. The vibe, in short, was already toxic. No criminal charges were filed. Monique eventually refused to cooperate with law enforcement. But she did pursue a civil lawsuit, with anonymous testimonies from other women who also accused Nelly of inappropriate behavior in 2016 and 2017. The matter was settled privately, officially without financial compensation, but the damage, at least in the public eye, was done. Beyond the facts, what stood out was his behavior, vague explanations, lack of accountability, and a clear pattern of deflection rather than ownership. Experts labeled this an avoidant attachment style, the kind that fears intimacy, runs from conflict, and shuts down when emotions get too real. And for Nelly, this wasn't new. He appeared, disappeared, reappeared, but rarely faced the consequences of his choices. So, when he re-entered Ashanti's life, when, nearly 10 years later, He knocked again on the door he once left ajar. It was only natural to wonder, was this a changed man? Or just a nostalgic one, still clinging to the past? The year 2021 could have been just like any other. But that night, a seemingly ordinary event changed everything. Fat Joe hosted a Verzuz battle against Ja Rule. Ashanti was invited to perform her biggest hits. What she didn't know? Nelly was also there. When Nelly walked across the stage to greet her, in front of thousands watching online, the moment froze. Ashanti remained poised, professional, but backstage, she was shaken. She later revealed it was the first time she had seen him in nearly 6 years. No closure, no explanation, just a ghost from the past showing up without warning. That kind of encounter hits hard, and yet, a few months later, things got even murkier. February 2022, Nelly accidentally posted an explicit video to his Instagram story. A private, intimate clip meant to stay on his phone went public for a brief moment. He apologized quickly, calling it a mistake, an old video never meant to be seen. But what happened afterward raised eyebrows. 6 days later, on Valentine's Day, Nelly and Ashanti were spotted having a romantic dinner together in Las Vegas. The timing was strange. A leaked sex tape followed by a public outing with his ex. In less than a week, coincidence, provocation, damage control? Some saw it as a calculated PR move, others an impulsive moment. But psychologists had another term, a crisis bond, a tendency to seek comfort from familiar people in moments of vulnerability or shame. And for Ashanti, that dinner raised a silent question. Was this a genuine desire or just nostalgia? Had she truly moved on or just closed the chapter too fast? Because soon after, a new dynamic began to form. By May 2023, the rumors became reality. Ashanti and Nelly were officially back together. After 10 years of silence, heartbreak, and distance, they reunited. To their fans, it was a modern fairy tale, love conquering time. The comeback couple no one expected, but for others, it brought more questions than answers. Just months prior, Ashanti had expressed her desire to start a family. Then, not long after the reunion, the news broke. She was pregnant, and in December 2023, they quietly got married. No public ceremony, no photos, no stories, just a discreet decision, heavy with symbolism. When Nelly spoke about the wedding, his words stirred curiosity. On a podcast, he said he didn't want Ashanti to become just another baby mama, so he married her. His tone was calm, reasonable, but also cold. He said, "We already knew where we were in life. If we got back together like this, it's because it was the right time." Not a single word about love or joy, our choice from the heart, just logic, as if checking a box. And that's where doubt creeps in. When a man marries a woman not out of passion, but to avoid public judgment, is it truly love or just social protection? A way to clean up the narrative? Nelly never married the mother of his previous children. He never felt the need to protect his image back then. But with Ashanti, a beloved star, admired by millions, marriage suddenly became urgent. Why now? Why her? From the outside, this decision felt less like romance and more like reputation repair. A public message, look, this time I'm doing it right. But what we show isn't always what we live. On July 28, 2024, Ashanti gave birth to their son, Kareem Kincaid Haynes. The announcement was simple, quiet, but it marked a major milestone. They were now a family. And just as that moment settled in, another surprise came. Ashanti and Nelly were getting a reality show. The title? Nelly and Ashanti, We Belong Together. A Peacock series meant to showcase their daily lives, their chemistry, their truth. But what truth exactly? The one they live or the one they let cameras capture? Because make no mistake, putting your relationship on screen isn't just creative, it's strategic. It's a way to make love visible and therefore legitimate. Psychologists call it performative intimacy, the need to prove to yourself and the world that things are good by showing it, by replaying it, by displaying it. But the camera doesn't lie. It captures the hesitant glances, the restrained gestures, the silences that weigh more than words, and quickly, cracks begin to show. We see a couple trying to hold it together, but making major decisions without mutual agreement. A couple where one moves forward while the other waits behind. The first shock, Nelly announces on camera that he plans to perform at Donald Trump's presidential inauguration in 2025, a politically explosive move in a highly divided climate. But it wasn't just the decision, it was the way he shared it. No discussion with Ashanti, no heads up, just dropped like a bomb. He talks, he explains, he justifies. Ashanti listens, silently. Her face freezes. Her mother, also present, stays quiet. You can feel the discomfort, the friction. But Ashanti smiles. She plays her role, the strong, calm, supportive woman. But her body says it all. The tension is real, subtle, but constant. The kind of tension that builds until everything breaks. And that wasn't the only red flag. Later in the series, Nelly casually admits on camera he's not changing their son's diapers. Not yet. Not until the baby can speak. His words are blunt. I'll give you the world. But diapers? That's not for me. That's your thing. When he can say, I'm hungry, then we'll talk. Some might call it honesty. Others, emotional detachment. But again, it's the tone. Detached. Almost indifferent. As if those first months didn't concern him. Maybe at 50, he's just tired. Maybe he thinks he's done enough in life. But for Ashanti, it meant one thing. She was alone. Alone through postpartum. Alone during sleepless nights. Alone under the spotlight. Alone in what was promised to be shared. And that kind of solitude, it doesn't always show, but it weighs. It erodes. It turns love into mental load. On paper, their story looks like a fairy tale, a painful breakup, a surprise comeback, a quiet wedding, a baby, a show. But look closer, and it all feels a little off, as if instead of writing a new chapter, they were just reperforming the old one with more filters, more expectations, more effort to appear instead of simply being. And so one last question lingers, a simple, brutal, inevitable one. Did they truly come back together to rebuild something real? Or because pretending it was never broken felt easier? Because love, as powerful as it is, can't erase old patterns. And for both Nelly and Ashanti, some things haven't changed. He's still chasing his image, his timing, his priorities. She's still seeking stability, partnership, consideration, but often sidelined. And what the cameras reveal isn't their happiness, it's their struggle to build true intimacy, far from the spotlight. Their challenge to meet each other fully, in the everyday, in the silence, in the mundane. So, yes, they're together. But the real question is, together in what? A revived love, or a beautifully packaged illusion? And you? Do you believe we can truly fall back in love without deeply changing first?